Today on Cptv, details on the shark attack in Cambria.
Hear about Governor Brown's most recent budget cuts.
And how these budget cuts are affecting the Cal Poly Disability Resource Center. Live from Studio 300 on Cal Poly's campus, I'm Erica Turnland.
And I'm Sean Partee. You're watching Cptv. A shark attack was reported at Moonstone Beach in Cambria on Sunday. Joey Noki was ending his morning fishing trip when the 15-foot great white bit his kayak. Noki was thrown 5 feet into the air. Nobody was injured in the attack, and warnings have been posted along Moonstone Beach.
CSU students could undergo another round of major budget cuts. Governor Brown released his May revision of the state budget this week. In it, he explains that if the voters reject his tax measure this November, there will be a $250 million cut to the Cal State system. This would bring CSU funding down to $1.8 billion, the lowest amount of state funding the university has received in 17 years. If voters pass the measure, Cal State will receive a flat budget of just over $2 billion. The Disability Resource Center is just one of many Cal Poly facilities suffering from the effects of statewide budget cuts. The center provides students with learning disabilities equal access to educational opportunities. While the university has always been able to make up for the center's deficit, the school no longer has the money to do so.
I think that the institution's probably going to have to figure out what the baseline is that we can do and find a way to fund that, whether it's state support or student fees or endowment money, whatever source it can come from.
The center, which relies entirely on state funding, has seen a decrease of 35 to 40% of its budget in the past 4 years. While the tangible resources like taking notes and sign language interpreting will remain, resources like one-on-one problem solving and advocacy will decrease.
A 26-year-old San Luis Obispo native is running for a seat in Congress. In our continuing series, Cptv reporter Lindsay McLeod talks to District 24 candidate Matt Boutte about his plans to represent a younger generation.
And so some people have said, I'll vote for you just based on your age alone.
Boutte is still a student. He got his bachelor's degree in math at Cal Poly, a graduate degree in public policy at Cal Poly. He's 2 years into law school at Georgetown, and now he wants to bring a new perspective to Congress.
26-year-old Matt Boutte is one of the 4 Central Coast candidates running in the June primary, and he says his age won't be a problem.
Like, oh, I could never vote for someone that young, but I get the opposite reaction sometimes too. They see these people who've been in Congress, some of them for decades, and they know that there's a need for new, fresh blood, fresh ideas. And so
age may not be the only factor. Boutte is taking on experience. A former lieutenant governor of California, a current congresswoman, and a former chairman of a state commission. Boutte says his goal is to go to Congress and be a voice for younger citizens.
Young people voting is hugely important. Policies that are enacted now are going to affect them for decades. They have the most at stake, really, and having a young candidate, a young representative at the table in Congress is beneficial to them, having their interest in mind.
Which is why he wants to fix California public education.
One possibility is telling institutions, educational institutions, that you're not going to be eligible for financial aid anymore if you grow your prices too quickly, if it's above a certain educational inflation benchmark.
He also wants to reduce the amount of money spent on the military.
There are cuts that can be made without compromising national or global security. Things like base closing, things like troop reduction levels, things like moving towards smart power. This is the way we need to be moving. We can better secure our national security, better secure the globe, and do it more effectively with less of a footprint.
Boutte says he's ready to tackle difficult issues and move the Central Coast forward. In San Luis Obispo, Lindsay McLeod, Cptv.
To view the entire interview, visit mustangdaily.net. Tune in next week's broadcast to learn more about the next District 24 candidate.
Cal Poly's human-powered vehicle team is celebrating a first-place victory in a national competition. Cptv's Madison and Murray went to get a closer look at the vehicle in action.
Cal Poly's human-powered vehicle team took first place in design at ASME's annual competition 2 weeks ago. Cal Poly also placed second in the drag race, third in the kart event, and second place overall.
We worked really hard for it, and it's, rewarding to see our year's work finally pay off.
The team traveled to Utah to compete after 9 months of work on the recumbent bike they call Gemini. The bike consists of a carbon fiber frame and a carbon fiber Kevlar shell. While most teams build 3-wheeled bikes, Cal Poly consistently enters 2-wheeled bikes in the competition. A few students worked on the vehicle as part of their senior project, but many students who helped were volunteers. While most of the 14 team members are engineering majors, the club is open to all and even had a history major this year.
We help everyone else develop their skills, and by the end of our year, usually everyone is fairly confident in how to build one of these.
While engineering is a vital aspect of the project, bike riding skills and endurance also come into play.
We're not just a club that builds bikes, we're also a club that rides bikes and tries to enjoy ourselves, mountain biking, road biking.
In San Luis Obispo, Madison DeMurray, Cptv.
The competition is over, but the team is already making plans for next year and hope to build a lighter, faster bike. The 22nd annual Byzantium Literary Magazine is being released this weekend. The magazine features short fiction and poetry by Cal Poly students. Pieces were selected from a writing contest established in memory of English professor Al Landwehr. English major Katie Sugar took first place for poetry, and biomedical engineer Aaron Rowley won the fiction contest. Byzantium was published by 2 English majors and an art major as a senior project.
So it's a really cool experience, not only to actually tangibly learn how to edit a publication, but I think it's also an experience that allows students a place to be creative.
Winners will read from their work at 7 p.m. on Saturday night at Sally Lou's Cafe. The cafe is located at 1804 Oso Street, and the reading is free and open to the public.
Cal Poly students were able to come together and showcase some of their own inventions and projects to the San Luis Obispo community this week. CPTV's Joseph Corral learned more about the innovative student creations.
Creative ideas were brought to life at Cal Poly's first spectacle event. The event took place this past Monday and allowed students to showcase inventions and projects they have developed, such as instruments, food, clothing, and smartphone applications. The Cal Poly community, as well as San Luis Obispo residents, gathered in Chumash Auditorium on campus to see projects submitted by clubs, entrepreneurs, and Cal Poly alumni. The event also gave innovators the opportunity to network and promote projects to an audience beyond their major in college.
This is really the student front of culture change at Cal Poly into a more innovative, entrepreneurial, interdisciplinary campus where different colleges and different departments work together.
Cal Poly Entrepreneurs, a campus club that seeks to transform motivated students into innovative leaders, worked with Spectacle to organize the event. Together, they help to adhere to the Learn by Doing motto of Cal Poly by giving students a platform to advertise their products to local business owners and other potential employers.
Each exhibitor here today applied and was selected because they've really created something and taken the initiative to build something great that has the potential to change their campus or change the world.
Following the showcase, the Cal Poly Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship held its second forum of the quarter, where some students stayed to learn more about the program. CPTV, Joseph Corral.
While Spectacle was held for the first time this year, there is high hopes by the organizers to make it an annual event.
This will give more students the chance to showcase their products in the future. All right, well, we have ASI President-elect Katie Morrow joining us in the studio today. Hi, Katie, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
So in the campaign, your slogan was all about taking the next step. Can you describe what that is for us?
Yeah, I would love to. So for me, taking the next step really means building upon what we've already done. So I've been working with ASI student government for 2 years now, and one challenge that we always face is that constant turnover of students coming in and out of their terms. And so I wanted to build upon some of the projects. We've been working really closely on communication goals and working to improve how we talk to the student body, how we receive feedback, and I think that that's really powerful. And so I think we need to build upon that and take the next step into our advocacy projects. So I think we need to improve how we speak for the students now that we've improved how we speak to the students.
So how do you plan on implementing this, taking the next step? What are your plans for the future?
So I think it's a two-part thing. It's some formal projects and some more informal projects. I want to build an informal relationship with the student body better so that people are comfortable coming and asking me questions individually. And then on a more formal basis, I want to create programs where we have direct liaisons between different clubs and organizations so that they're in constant communication. I also want to do more with social media, of course. There's so much room for improvement in those areas because everyone has a Facebook. So why don't we take advantage of that and really build upon how they speak to us via Facebook and other methods.
Great. And then what are your thoughts and plans for the Student Success Fee and that committee that's delegating all of that?
Yeah, so I've been sitting on the meetings so far this year, and that was kind of a way for me to learn how the process is going to be implemented this year so that I can build upon that and make some improvements for it next year. So we've been working on a survey that was sent out, and that went to all students. They were able to fill it out on their portal, and everyone was able to state what their top priorities were for the funding. And without a doubt, everyone's top priority was classes for the most part. We had over 80% say that classes were their top priority. So it's clear that we need the bulk of funding to go there. And so I think we need to work with the provost very closely and with the deans very closely to figure out what those class needs are. And we need to continue speaking to students and find out, once the funding has been implemented for the next year, do they see the improvement? Do they see areas where it's still lacking that we can put money towards an area where they can move towards graduation faster and get more for their education here at Cal Poly?
Great. Well, thank you so much again for joining us today, Katie. Really appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much. All right, coming up on CPTV, we have your weekend weapons.
Test their egg dropping abilities.
And find out about the people who keep Cal Poly clean.
Registration was pretty, it was all right at the time. I had kind of a late spot, and I also had to figure out senior project stuff for business because you don't get to register for the units till next year, so I kind of had to register in a bunch of random classes that I most likely will drop before the quarter starts.
It's time for our weekend weather update.
CPT reporter Brandon Jones has the update.
How's it looking, Brandon?
Oh, thanks, guys. Well, it's looking great. Right now, you can see a shot of the P from a couple hours earlier. Nothing but the typical fantastic sunny weather that we all have known to grow and love in San Luis Obispo. And we got a lot of things coming up this weekend. So let's take a look at our headlines, and we'll show you exactly what we're talking about. So we have a high-pressure system right now over the Pacific, and that's building up and keeping all the cool weather out, and the clear skies in, so that's great. And we have about 2 to 3 foot waves for all your surfing fanatics out there. But the most interesting thing, I think, this weekend will be the solar eclipse here in San Luis Obispo. Now, it's not going to be total for us here, and you will need eye protection to see it, but it should start around 5:15 on Sunday, excuse me, and it should go for about an hour. So get out there, make sure you use your sunglasses or other eye protection, but it should be a memorable event for everyone involved. So now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. So you can see right now it's about 68, it's a little chilly, but it is going to be warming up this weekend, Saturday and Sunday at about 73, 75 is a high, and then coming into the week, we're going to look at about 72 or 73 with lows in the mid-50s. So overall, it's going to be great beach weather this weekend. And, so Cal Poly, just get out to the beaches, get out to the shopping, and do what you do best.
Great. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon. Looks like it's going to be a great weekend out there.
Yeah, and the solar eclipse, that's so cool. Wasn't the last one like 20 years ago?
Yeah, we were only 3 years old in the last time. But,
great.
I didn't only get to cover weather this weekend. I actually got to talk to some people who, we don't really think about too much. They're people who clean up our messes and, mop up our trash and everything. But they're also people, too. And I realized that everyone has a story to tell. So I got a chance to talk to some of our custodians this week.
They work all day, often unnoticed, yet they play a vital role in on-campus life. To the students in the dorms they work in, a custodian is part groundskeeper, part therapist, and part friend.
I like working with the students. I like the conversations and stuff with the students.
I like my job. I like to work here. I like the people that I work with.
The work is routine sometimes, but it's a routine that someone must do. These workers start their day cleaning halls and common rooms, but the days inevitably end in one place, the bathroom.
Wash everything in here, the floors, inside the toilets. We have to disinfect. Another times we have to disinfect this on both sides.
Though they perform the same tasks, university housing custodians have backgrounds as unique as anybody else. Some are shy, others are happy to share their story, but they all work every Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. Every one of these custodians has a reason to be here, and it's one that often extends beyond a paycheck.
My very first year I was in Yosemite in Tower 7 and 8, and I got to know my students very well. They really helped me out a lot, and that was their first year here. You know, my son got shot and killed by Anaheim police, so you know, they really stepped it up for me and made it real easier for me here. You know, they're like my own kids, so it was very nice.
For Cptv, Brandon Jones.
Well, I should add that those first-year Yosemite students Jerry talked about are graduating this year, and they actually called him up and took him out to Firestone a few days ago as a way to show their love for the strength and support he gave them back in their freshman year.
Great. Thanks, Brandon.
Cal Poly graphic design students took first place in a competition for their redesign and packaging of Cal Poly chocolates.
The students spent 1 year researching and redesigning the chocolates and ended up creating 9 new packages when only 4 were needed for the competition. The competition was hosted by the Phoenix Challenge Foundation, which is dedicated to encouraging today's youth to explore career opportunities. Cal Poly competed with universities across the nation to create a final product that was judged by the Flexographic Technical Association. Cal Poly students are walking for a cure this weekend. Relay for Life takes place this Saturday and Sunday on the Cal Poly track. It's a 24-hour event, and students walk for the entire time to demonstrate how cancer never sleeps. All proceeds from the event benefit the American Cancer Society, and so far the event has raised almost $40,000, but the committee hopes to hit $75,000 after the weekend.
The Chi Omega sorority is able to grant 5 wishes to local children through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The sorority held their 2nd annual Sand Slam Beach Volleyball Tournament Saturday. Fraternities on campus participated in the competition. The event raised $3,000, enough to help them reach their goal and granting 5 wishes to local children. Their Cayo Casino event earlier this year raised just over $22,000.
Cal Poly students competed to protect nature's perfect package on Thursday in the 25th annual Egg Drop competition. Students were challenged to create a packaging project that would protect an egg in a 30-foot ball at Dexter Lawn. Participants used many materials ranging from paper and balloons to peanut butter and cereal. The eggs that were not cracked after the packaging minors, but welcomes all majors, including graphic design, architecture, and business.
Cal Poly incorporates the Learn by Doing motto into all of the majors here, but sometimes students want more hands-on experience. Reporter Morgan Chappelle shows us how some animal science majors volunteer with wolves to gain more experience with wild and exotic animals.
Owls usually greet visitors as they arrive at the Wolf Hybrid Adoption and Rescue Compound, WAR, a home for wolves and wolf dog hybrids outside of Paso Robles.
A lot of people think that they're guard dogs and that they're bloodthirsty killers and they're gonna defend their property from other people.
But that's not the case. Krutzinger started the rescue in 1998 with the goal of shedding light on the responsibility of caring for wolves and finding them the proper homes. In addition to finding proper homes for the hybrid wolves, WAR offers animal science majors at Cal Poly a true learn-by-doing volunteer experience.
You just come out here and you get to work with these amazing animals that are guaranteed to be your friends, and that's an interesting experience in itself.
Volunteers' duties include feeding the wolves, walking them, grooming, and cage maintenance. Volunteers walk away from the rescue with experience that will help them in their future careers.
When I graduate in 4 years, I'm going to be able to say I've had 4 years of experience working hands-on with these animals and teaching the public, instead of saying, you know, oh, I've had 4 years of sitting in a classroom.
Longtime volunteers usually end up adopting a hybrid because they have the experience to care for it. Krutzinger says that 52 hybrid wolves have been adopted, about 9 a year since opening in 1998. To the right owner with proper facilities and care, a hybrid wolf like Shiloh here could be your new lifelong companion. For Cptv, Morgan Chappelle.
Add a hybrid wolf to your one-man wolf pack. WAR currently has 14 hybrids up for adoption.
Coming up on Cptv, Cal Poly Baseball gets ready to have its final homestand of the season.
And Bike Month makes a visit to the Cal Poly campus.
I was second rotation and I still didn't get some of the classes that I wanted.
So I'm on the wait list for 2 of my classes for next fall, but I got into like my major classes that I need.
Spring sports are coming to Cal Poly. Cptv reporter Curtis Cole is here to talk about the final stride of this year's Mustangs.
Yeah, well, this is the last week for sports, and the only teams remaining are track and field and baseball. So besides that, we're looking at 10 Mustangs advancing to the NCAA Track and Field West Regionals. Runners, throwers, and pole vaulters will head to Austin, Texas next Friday and Saturday to represent Cal Poly in 9 events. 3 members of the women's team and 7 from the men's will be competing. And the blue-green rivalry continues as Cal Poly baseball takes their last homestand of the season in a 3-game series against UC Santa Barbara. The 10-8 Mustangs will go into this weekend with their 10th winning season since 2000. The number 6 Gauchos have lost 7 of their last 10 games and are fresh off a loss to Cal State Fullerton. The first pitch is set for tonight at 6 p.m. The next 2 games are tomorrow and Sunday at 1 p.m.
That's an exciting way to finish the season. A blue-green rivalry set the tone for next season.
Yeah.
And this is the last chance for students to come out and represent the green and gold. Also, the Cal Poly lacrosse team is in Greenville, South Carolina, playing in the national championships against Colorado State Rams. Their game is tomorrow at 9 p.m. And thanks, Curtis, for our last sports preview of the quarter. San Luis Obispo's Bike Month celebration was brought to Cal Poly this week.
The Cal Poly Bike Coalition hosted Bike Fest on Thursday to raise awareness about biking on campus. At the booth, University Police also offered a bike registration to aid students in recovering stolen bikes. And Stride presents tips for living a healthier lifestyle. Cal Poly Wheelman also fixed a bike station aimed at helping students tune up their rides. The Cal Poly Bike Coalition is a new club on campus and hopes to get Cal Poly certified by the League of American Cyclists as a bike-friendly campus. For more information on the Bike Coalition and how to get involved, visit their Facebook page. Coming up next on Cptv, some of the top poets in the country will be coming to Cal Poly.
Find out what the theme of this year's Anthem Poetry Slam is, and learn a little bit about a new rage in the racing coming to the Central Coast that's going to be a little dirty.
I use a priority because I know that fall's the hardest quarter to register for because of all the spots reserved for freshmen. So it wasn't that big of a deal for me, but I was supposed to be 10th originally, and I would have had no chance of getting anything, so.
Events going on at Cal Poly this week.
Cptv reporter Joseph Corral has your Polywood Minute.
All right, thanks guys. There's really a wide variety of events going on campus this week. The Anthem, an annual slam-style poetry competition, is happening tonight on campus. The theme of this year's event is Words Will Change the World, and it is sponsored by Cal Poly's English department. The poets competing are among the top spoken word poets in the nation. Their poetry pieces will cover issues from race and ethnicity, to gender, to sexual orientation and love. The event is free to the public and will take place at Chumash Auditorium starting at 7 p.m. Cal Poly dancers are now in their final preparations for the spring dance show. The spring dance show, Catalyst, will feature a variety of dance styles such as jazz, ballet, tap, contemporary, hip-hop, breakdance, and cultural dance forms. The show is completely student-run, with both student directors and choreographers. Catalyst will open next Thursday at Spanos Theater. Tickets can be purchased at www.packslow.org. The Damon Castillo Band performed on campus in the UU Plaza yesterday. The local band performed as part of ASI's Concerts in the Plaza series. The group describes their sound as a mix of soul, rock, and jazz fusion. The band features lead singer Damon Castillo, Christian Duke Arme on the piano, Jennings Jacobson on the drums, and Larry Kim on the saxophone. Their 2008 album, Laurel Lane, is available on iTunes. Well, that's it for your Polywood Minute. Hope you guys take a chance to check out some of the great events happening this week.
Yeah, especially that slam poetry going on tonight. That sounds cool.
Thanks, Joseph. You can tune in every week to get the latest in Central Coast news entertainment. While races like 5Ks, 10Ks, and even marathons are becoming increasingly popular across the world, a local event company is throwing mud into the mix. All Out Events is hosting its inaugural Mud Mash X at Santa Margarita Ranch this Saturday. Mud Mash X racers can choose to run either 4 or 10 miles and will face over 25 obstacles along the way. The obstacles were designed with the help of an active Navy SEAL and includes climbing ropes, jumping over walls, and even running through fire.
Over 1,000 racers are expected to turn out for the event, which will be followed by a beer garden, barbecue, and concert. Online registration for the event is closed, but walk-up registration on Saturday morning will be. All right. Thanks. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in to CPTV. You can catch us every Friday. Have a great weekend, Cal Poly.